Hey guys, remember this guy?
Are you racing the GT2?
Yeah.
How's it gonna go?
I max out about 210.
You're not gonna need 210 miles an hour here.
This guy showed up at the track and was hoping to race Leroy. The guy in the GT2 is like, I'll run you.
He ran a half mile, Kyle. He blew by me at 150, and then he didn't even brake till he could probably see the cones.
Well, 10 days later, he went missing.
In a developing story, this 76-year-old man...
Deputies say Donald Walters has been missing since July 10th.
Crews have been searching for Donald Walters.
Walters is from Great Bend, Kansas, which is about 6 hours from here, and his car was found right over here by this bridge here on a dead-end road last week.
Right now, we're about an hour away from Deep Fork River. This was the last location that they found his vehicle. We're gonna see what we can find and retrace his last steps.
The rumors too, that everybody just goes to, is that he was talking too much and maybe the big government got rid of him.
He was he worked for like the government.
He helped Kilby invent the microchip. He trained spies for the CIA. And I'll be goddamn if everything Don Walters said wasn't 100% true.
The area that his vehicle was located in was definitely not a place where general travel would be.
The thing is, somebody drove that down that road, by whom we really don't know.
They believe that he crossed the bridge, but then they lost his trail. He made some accusations.
He could have shot his mouth off. He was an adamant anti-Trump.
Let's say you say, fuck Trump in this gas station. What do you think is gonna happen?
All right, guys, so I wanted to bring this story to you, not because it's something that I normally do. I bring a much more lighthearted, funny type of video, but I've really felt that when Donald Walters crossed my path, he had always struck a chord with me just on a different level. He was very important to our country. From what I can see, he did a lot of probably classified things for the government. He has a few patents out there I found, and he was constantly working, and he was like what I would consider, in a lot of ways, a true American. He not only worked for our government, he had a lot of pride in our government, he had a lot of pride in his family. That was something I felt really needed to be told, that this crazy old man was a very important person. He did a lot for our country, and I really felt that when I started to dig, I had to tell this story, not only for me and the people out there I thought would want to see something like that, but beyond that, maybe we could actually find him. Maybe we could actually find out what happened to him and bring closure to his family and his loved ones. If he was murdered, if he committed suicide, unfortunately, if he died of the elements out there, if the government took him away, whatever the scenario was, I really felt that we needed to find out, and that's why we're bringing this story to you. I met Donald Walters actually at the Great Bend racetrack. He walked up through the crowd and challenged actually Cleetus, my good friend Garrett, to a race. He said that he had an extremely fast car that had about 1,200 horsepower, and that he could beat Cleetus. I saw it kind of happening, and I'm very protective of Garrett, and decided to kind of slide over in the crowd to see what was really going on. And I mean, he was an older gentleman. He's probably in his late 70s is what he appeared to be. A little odd, and very excited to get up into his face and challenge him to a race. So I decided to, get his attention. And I said, hey, so what kind of car do you have? And he said, I have that Porsche, that Taycan over there. And he says, it's got 1,200 horsepower. So I said, all right, well, I have a Porsche too. We should race first. And then if you beat me, you can race my friend Garrett. To have like a grudge race is not very common. So it kind of excited everybody, excited me. And the fact that in that small, tiny town, I have this $200,000 car racing my $300,000-$400,000 Porsche. It was a very unique and the confluence of events that have to come together to have two cars like that in the same tiny little town is very rare. And I really was excited to take advantage of it and race that car and kind of see what it could actually do. So then we pulled right up to the staging lanes, and that's where kind of you guys pick up on, a lot of people saw, and that's where 1320 came in. A good friend of mine, Kyle, he runs 1320. So he came over to me and went over to Donald and asked him about the specs of the car. And he said, well, I don't know how fast it'll go, but I know mine goes 210 miles an hour.
Yeah, I max out about 210.
What's that?
I max out about 210.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to need 210 miles an hour here.
I got 1,200 horsepower. He's got 850.
And it was almost foreshadowing that he did kind of want to see what the top speed would do of the car, regardless of the finish line. So then we line up, and you guys see it on video. He actually asked the staging guy at the track. He said, where do I go up to?
He asked me where the staging lights were, where to go up to.
Clearly unseasoned at a drag strip, which I didn't know that till after. I do remember, though, saying that in another video, is he going to make it all the way down? What's the over-under? Just because he was just older and he's kind of got himself into a little hot water with this race, and it was one of the faster cars out there. So I personally remember lining up next to him thinking, I'm going to get him off the start. I'm not going to, allow him to even get a jump on me with an electric car and, beat him off the tree. When I did beat him eventually down the track, I have to turn in front of him. The way that the track is set up, you have to turn in front of your left-hand driver and come off the track about a half mile down. I had already made a mental note that I was not going to cross in front of him in case he didn't know what was happening or in case he was going too fast. I didn't want to get T-boned by him. And my instincts were right. He did take off, continued past the quarter-mile mark.
He ran a half mile, Kyle.
What?
He blew by me at 150, and then he didn't even brake till he could probably see the cones, and then he started slamming the brakes. He drove a quarter mile past the cones.
That was just a step on the gas.
Yeah?
And now I'm going to do the side step.
You didn't give it all of it?
No.
After we pulled up into the pits and I talked with Kyle on 1320, I noticed that he was up there at the staging line. So I actually took a moment and talked to him. I said, so how do you get a car like this? This is over $200,000 car. I think he corrected me and said $230,000 or $240,000 car. And I said, yeah, how do you get this car in this little small town? What are you doing here? He said, I'm actually from this town. I lived in Monterey, California. I just divorced my wife, split up everything, took my money, bought this car, moved back here to Great Bend, Kansas. I said, so you were talking about what you did for a living, that you were an Army veteran. And he said, yeah. And then he went into a description with me. Basically, the 007 movies, there is the smart scientist in the 007 movies called Q. And he's the one that designs all the cars for James Bond and shows him all the tricks of the car and where the missiles come out. And he said, you remember Q and James Bond? I said, yeah. He said, that was my job. That's me. I worked under a real classified area and basically was a spy. He was very quick and kind of nonchalant about it.
So what do you do for a living? I'm a retired spy.
At that moment, I really realized what was kind of going on. In my mind as a paramedic, just evaluating somebody coming up on scenes, you're taught quickly to evaluate kind of mental status of people. He mentally was there. He didn't really have any problems with his cognitive ability to understand his awareness and what was happening. But I did notice that in a lot of people, and it's not medically wrong with them, that they're very intelligent in a lot of areas, but socially they lack in a lot of areas. He had a stutter, he talked very fast, he didn't really look me in the eyes, and he was just kind of rambling on about what his story was, as if he had told it hundreds of times before.
That was just standing on the gas. I didn't do the side steps. That was just hitting the gas. So
Still, 11-0, that's impressive.
Okay.
Do you want to go again?
Yeah.
So we pulled up to the staging lines for race number 2. We got the double yellow, and I went and did my 2-step on the Porsche. At that moment, it just took too long, and my car actually times out after 3 or 4 seconds. That had never happened to me before, and he went ahead and won that race. So pulled back into the pits, and that's where we pick up again with Kyle talking about, he got me.
I know.
I think I got you beat, but I want to get
You got me beat.
So I actually gave him the $100 back and said that he won. but he wanted more than the money. He actually had said earlier off camera that whoever loses, if he beats me, I have to kiss his ass. I said, he goes, but I'm not going to make you kiss my ass, but maybe kiss the car or something of that nature. And so basically that's why I said, all right, you win. I'm a man of my word. So I walked over, and I don't mind kissing a Porsche logo. So that was easy for me to do, kissing a Porsche logo. I really love the cars. I think they're great cars. So after that, I don't even know if we said our goodbyes or anything. The encounter was over. Kyle has video of it. You see him kind of gesture to Kyle. Kyle kind of understood, like, is he going to take off? And yes, he launched right in the pit area through the crowd. Thank God there was nobody in the way and nobody got hurt. That was the last I ever saw of Donald Walters. Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0 was like 3 months later. That was at the end of June, July, and September. We came back through that town of Great Bend to race again. When we pulled up into the pits that day, Garrett had come up to me and we were talking about stuff, and he had mentioned that that guy Donald was missing, that the mailman had said that he had not been getting his mail and he was not at his home anymore. They had not seen the car around, and he actually went missing. Maybe the car was even abandoned at the end of the racetrack with the doors open on a military base. There was like all these tales that were coming out, and I just dispelled that as rumor in a small town. There's no way he went missing. He's probably just back in Montecito, California, and away on vacation or doing something. So we finished the race week, and that was the end of it. 6 months later, Kyle sent over the news reports confirming that Donald Walters was in fact missing.
In a developing story, this 76-year-old man...
Deputies say Donald Walters has been missing since July 10th.
Walters is from Great Bend, Kansas, which is about 6 hours from here, and his car was found right over here by this bridge here on a dead-end road.
He also sent me this resume, which really got me locked in. It says that he had a PhD degree in physics, U.S. Naval Postgraduate School. He was an officer at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. He worked with electro-optical, night vision, high-energy laser systems. He also worked at White Sands Missile Range. I started to really think this wasn't just small-town rumor. This was real. Donald Walters was who he said he was.
Jack Kilby invented the microchip. He trained spies for the CIA. And I'll be goddamn if everything Donald Walters said wasn't 100% true.
So now I'm looking back at these rumors thinking maybe they are true. They're saying that his vehicle was found missing at the end of a runway, that his truck was abandoned by a pig farm. He knew so much classified information, and going viral on that video, the government wanted to get rid of him, that he was talking too much, that he was a threat to our nation, if you will. He talked to me about stuff. He told me he was a spy. I thought, is this real? Maybe the government did get rid of him. We heard so many crazy stories that I didn't know what to believe. I knew we had to go back to Kansas and figure out what happened and why he drove 400 miles down into Oklahoma. What was he doing down there? What happened to him? Is he still out there? I needed to find out. So this year, Rocky Mountain Race Week actually goes into Great Bend, Kansas twice. So we decided to go up there a few days early and just go through town and start talking to some people. Maybe find some of his family, his friends, maybe talk to a detective if we could, and try to figure out what was going on in Kansas prior to him leaving and going into Oklahoma. All right, guys, so we are in Great Bend, Kansas, and we are actually going to Donald Walters' house. I found it online. I think this is his primary residence. One of the sheriffs that I've been talking to that no longer actually works in this town, hopefully we'll meet up with him tomorrow or the next day, said that he had 2 homes. So I did look it up. I don't even know how I found half of this stuff, but I definitely found his address. It's not very far. So we're gonna head there right now. All right, so we're pulling up here. It's up on the right side here, right around this corner. I don't think it's this one with the flag. That's it. Well, this is gonna be interesting. A missing person cannot be declared dead for like 7 to 10 years. It's actually kind of hard to do. But I think what happens is taxes, like for example, on a property, they're not going to allow the property to just go into ill repair. And it's, for vagrants and squatters and fires, it's a hazard. So they're going to have to keep it up. So people are, I'm assuming, he divorced his wife, so it must have been one of the kids is the executor of the estate, is what my guess is. We haven't found out yet. And that's how they could put this thing up for sale. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. All right, guys, so we're here at Donald Walters' house. I'm pretty sure this is it. I found it online. He has 2 homes. This is what I think was his primary, that he was actually in the middle of remodeling is what I heard. It may have a basement, some other stuff. So unfortunately at the first house, Donald had never really lived there. He was just remodeling the house. I decided to talk to some of the neighbors and see if they had remembered him at all. Unfortunately, none of the neighbors had any interaction with him. All right, so now we're at his smaller townhome, I guess. It did sell. It was for sale. I think we found out that it did sell. And here it is, 3202, this one. So we went to his other townhome condo and walked around. It was locked. Nobody was living there. I decided to talk to those neighbors, and one of the neighbors actually did remember Donald. I know Donald Walters used to live next door.
Yeah.
He went missing, and this house was his, and he lived here for a while. Did you ever meet him or know him at all?
Well, yeah, I met him. The only time we ever met, we didn't get along too well. Played his stereo.
Oh, jeez.
At 3 o'clock in the morning. I listened to it 2 days, 2 nights, and I flat-handed that wall. The 3rd night, I was really sorry that I did it after he went missing.
Oh yeah, well you didn't know he was being a bad neighbor at the time, you know.
I think Don and I could have been friends if we could have worked out the
right. The music.
Music.
What an oddball thing. Remember what kind of music it was? Was it modern or?
I know it was loud.
It was just loud.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
What in the heck's he doing? What was he doing? That's such an odd. He was from California for a while. He might have brought those old habits home. So that was CW, his neighbor. He felt pretty bad. I guess he was up till 3 a.m. and 2 days in a row pounding music, and he being a bad neighbor, and he pounded on the wall, and then he went missing. Now he's been feeling bad ever since. Yeah. After we left the townhome, we decided to just drive directly to the real estate office and see if the realtor was there that had just listed and sold his properties. Unfortunately, they were not there. We got his phone number though. The town is so small though, we realized the real estate office is right next door to the fire department and the police department. So I'm gonna walk up and see if any of these guys remember him. I definitely remember, interesting people, I should say, when I was on the fire department. They always stood out. So maybe they remember him, and maybe we can get him to talk about him a little bit and see a little bit more about what he was about. So, hello. I'm in town for race week. I don't know if you guys know what that's about. And I raced an interesting gentleman last year. His name was Donald Walters.
Yep.
And he went missing 10 days later.
Yep.
So I didn't know if you guys ever ran calls on him, because I guess he hadn't been in town very long, but he had called 911 a couple times. So I've been talking to one of the...
Actually, now is he the one that was quite wealthy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He had a couple houses.
They found him.
No, they didn't.
They found him.
Oh.
Not alive.
Oh, they did?
They did find him.
No way. I had no idea.
They did find him not too long ago, within the last month. This guy, they did tell me that they found that guy that was missing.
Wow.
He had he was on a hunting expedition, and the wild boar guy.
No way.
Wild pigs guy. Yeah.
So I'm talking to the fire department, and he says, oh yeah, they found him. I couldn't believe it, that it just ended like that. We went around town for 10 minutes, all this planning and all this preparation, and they found him.
They found him in Oklahoma, not far from where they found his vehicle and all that
Holy
stuff.
crap.
His actual, they thought he kind of maybe went out and
Yeah, that he just got lost.
Yeah, but
he's out hunting.
Yeah.
So they found
his gun close to it and him.
The police haven't done an official statement. The news hasn't run a real report on this yet, and nothing's happened. Like, I just found out. So I decided to go next door to the police department and see if this rumor was real or not. I was wondering, how would I be able to talk to a detective that was on a missing persons case?
I can try to find out who was working there.
The missing person was Donald Walters.
Okay.
He went missing a year ago. Apparently, I think they found him in Oklahoma about a month ago.
Okay.
And I just wanted to see if I could chat with the detective about it.
Okay,
And,
I'm sorry, what was the name of it?
Donald Walters.
Okay,
You said they found him? Because we still have him as missing.
Okay. Hey, can you look and see if Donald Walters is still listed in NCIC as missing?
Yes, he is still
So you said they didn't think he was hunting, though?
No, there was no hunting involved. Not of animals. He was going to go down there and take care of some people.